Wednesday on an all-new Dr. Phil. The mysterious disappearance of Jennifer Dulos.
Whatever happened right there.
The estranged husband.
Do you think he's telling the truth, or is he showing deceptive behavior?
The crime scene.
Blood, blood, blood.
There's not blood everywhere.
And the one thing everyone agrees on.
It seems to be terribly incriminating. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, the mystery of missing mom, Jennifer Dulos, is fast becoming the biggest headline of the year. A beautiful mother of 5 vanishes from her sprawling Connecticut home. The eyes of the media and the law lock in on this man, Fotis Dulos, Jennifer's estranged husband with whom she was embroiled in a multi-million-dollar divorce and custody battle. And this woman, Michelle Troconis, Fotis' girlfriend, who police say was seen with him throwing plastic bags into bins around the time of Jennifer's disappearance. Now, police reports of blood-stained car seats, attempts to clean a vehicle, and a false alibi only served to keep these two in the spotlight. But with no current murder charges, will the mystery of Jennifer Dulos' disappearance ever be solved? Take a look.
A New Canaan mom disappeared, and she hasn't been seen since.
Police located her 2017 black Suburban near Waveney Park, but she was not inside the vehicle. Detectives are searching the swampy area behind the park. Court documents show the mother of 5 was involved in a bitter custody battle. The divorce proceedings revealed that Dulos was afraid of her husband. She stated that she believed filing for divorce will enrage him and said her husband will retaliate by trying to harm her.
May 24th, Jennifer Dulos drops her kids off at school in New Canaan. She misses multiple doctor's appointments in New York City. Friends can't reach her. Police go to her home in New Canaan. She's not there.
The search for Jennifer has gone from New Canaan to Hartford. Police were seen searching several streets and sewer drains, also searching through garbage dumpsters, looking for any trace of evidence.
We have breaking news for you. Jennifer's estranged husband, Fotis Dulos, and his girlfriend, Michelle Troconis.
They're charged with tampering with evidence and hindering prosecution.
This exclusive drone video shows Fotis Dulos talking with police in his backyard. He had just posted bail. Prosecutors and defense went back and forth of the amount of bail, which remained at $500,000.
Explosive new details in the case of a missing Connecticut mother. And now her estranged husband has been arrested for a second time.
There was a 43-page document that was released last night, a warrant of arrest. There is nothing in the 43 pages that say they have found Jennifer, her body, and he has not been charged with murder.
The big question in all of this, where is Jennifer Dulos?
Well, police have been working around the clock to answer that question, gathering a long list of compelling evidence. It's all in these arrest warrants, and the press have had a field day with it. Take a look.
This really has been a fast-moving investigation. After Jennifer Dulos went missing, police go to her home in New Canaan. They do find stains on the garage floor that tested positive for human blood. There's blood spatter, and it looks like someone had attempted to clean the scene.
Fotis Dulos and his girlfriend, Michelle Troconis, are accused of dumping trash bags into dumpsters.
This is one of the cameras that police say caught Fotis Dulos dumping items.
Police have found a blood-stained shirt they think she was wearing the day she disappeared.
Fotis Dulos and Michelle Troconis are arrested. They're charged with tampering with evidence and hindering prosecution.
Both have pleaded not guilty to hindering prosecution and tampering with evidence.
Prosecutors lay out their case, saying the couple dumped items like blood-stained sponges and household goods.
They also found old license plates belonging to Dulos that had been altered.
Investigators accused Dulos of driving his employee's truck from Farmington to New Canaan that morning. The employee who owns that truck says in the days to follow, Fotis Dulos insisted he remove seats from the truck and get rid of them. That employee did so, but kept them without Dulos knowing. The seats would later test positive for Jennifer's blood.
It's an exhausting fight. I love my children, and that's about it.
Well, today I'll be taking a deep dive into the story analyzing Jennifer's disappearance with some of the most eminent judicial and legal minds in America. And there are some things that have not come to the forefront here. First up, American legal commentator and TV journalist, as well as founder of Crime Online, Nancy Grace, who is joining us via satellite. Nancy, welcome. It's good to talk to you.
Hi, Dr. Phil. Thank you for having me.
Well, Nancy, I know you have been following this story, as have I. What do you think's going on here?
Right off the bat, let me say this is no story. And if you go through that arrest warrant with a fine-tooth comb, they have worked so hard. Everybody's screaming, why isn't there a murder charge? Law enforcement has surveillance video, Dr. Phil, from school buses. You know when you go by a school bus or they put out their stop sign or they open a door? Rest stops, traffic stops, home security surveillance, all types of surveillance. They have been working very hard piecing this together. But I can tell you this much, and I hate to say it, it's a bitter pill for me. Jennifer Dulos is dead, and there's no doubt in my mind. You can't have that much blood in that many locations and the person not be dead.
Well, let's talk about that, because in both the first and second arrest warrants, we looked through both arrest warrants for Fotis Dulos and found at least 10 different references to blood in the documents, including a blood-like substance belonging to Jennifer Dulos that was allegedly found in the truck Fotis Dulos was driving around the time Jennifer disappeared. I mean, what is a possible alternative explanation for that? It seems to be terribly incriminating.
Well, there's literally blood everywhere, Dr. Phil. Neighbor surveillance video shows her coming in around 8:05 to her garage. Whatever happened, happened right there. And she's trying to get out of her car because there's no other reason blood would be on the interior of her door and her cell phone still in the car. On the exterior door of her car, in the garage, on the other car parked there. And then, as you accurately pointed out, and I think this is the most damning blood of all. In Fotis Dulos, the estranged husband, employees, Toyota Tacoma. He took the Toyota Tacoma, the employee did not know he had it. Then, when the employee gets the car, he keeps telling him to swap out the back seats. We find out he, Fotis Dulos, had the car pay $250 cash, no credit card receipt, to get an employee's Tacoma detailed, cleaned out, then made the guy swap out the back seat. And when pressed, he told the employee, well, you know, I hugged Jennifer on Mother's Day, and I'm afraid her hair might be on the back seat. Oh, no, Dr. Phil. It was her blood.
Well, Dulos' girlfriend, Michelle Troconis, was reportedly traveling with Dulos and was accused of tampering with evidence as well.
Well, I'll tell you this. Chew on this, Dr. Phil. In that arrest warrant, which I know you've gone over it with a fine-tooth comb, did you see reference to an alibi script? That's what they're calling it. Their words, not mine. Right. Found in Fotis Dulos' mansion, which, P.S., has just, is now being foreclosed upon by Jennifer's mother. Fotis Dulos and his girlfriend, his lover, Michelle Troconis, come up with a detailed recitation, and they write it down, what they did around the time that Jennifer goes missing. And she, the girlfriend, the lover, Michelle Troconis, has now admitted, according to this warrant, that those were lies. It was an alibi script.
When we come back, you're going to meet someone who says that Michelle Troconis' Fotis' girlfriend is the linchpin to finding missing mom of 5, Jennifer Dulos. Nancy's going to stay with us, and we'll be right back.
Michelle Troconis surrendered herself. Police lay out a pretty compelling case.
When police asked Dulos' girlfriend why they had the truck cleaned, she allegedly answered, quote, it's because the body of Jennifer at some point was in there.
I really believe that Michelle Troconis is the linchpin that can bring all of this evidence together.
Tomorrow. I can't imagine being on vacation, then all of a sudden...
Coming home a widow.
You do not believe that your husband died of natural causes.
I believe that somebody murdered him. All I could think of was that my husband was going to have to identify me, and he wouldn't be able to because there wouldn't be much left.
A daytime exclusive.
The police have come out to say that I didn't really have any injuries, that I was fine.
That's tomorrow. Then on Monday, new clues in Princess Diana's death.
This person that was inside that tunnel, he has never spoken about Princess Diana's death until now.
New Dr. Phil. That's Monday.
Well, there is a growing media storm over the disappearance of wealthy mother of 5, Jennifer Dulos. Now, many consider her estranged husband, luxury property developer Fotis Dulos, a prime suspect. But he's sharing the spotlight with another woman, his girlfriend. Take a look.
Michelle Troconis came into the police department, surrendered herself. Police lay out a pretty compelling case. They say in the first 2 interviews, she lied point blank about where she was and alibis and scripted alibis, all kinds of things.
According to the warrant, a blood-like substance was found in the truck. When police asked Dulos' girlfriend why they had the truck cleaned after using it, she allegedly answered, quote, "You showed me the picture of the blood in the door. It's because the body of Jennifer at some point was in there."
I really believe that Michelle Troconis is the linchpin that can bring all of this evidence together.
Well, also joining me now to talk about the importance of Michelle Troconis in this case is crime profiler and forensics expert, Dr. Casey Jordan. So thank you so much for being here.
Pleasure to be here.
Now, Nancy, of course, is still with us as well. Now, we clearly have seen throughout the police reports that Michelle Troconis was in and around this. What do you think her role in this was, based on what she has said and what the police surveillance footage, all of this? What do you think her role has been?
Well, keep in mind that she's been described by Fotis' attorney as the lying lover. So we've always known that this is his girlfriend. This is the woman he lives with. The big question is, how much did she know? Did she just tamper with evidence, which is all that she's been charged with so far? Or was she an aider, a abettor, a co-conspirator?
One of the things that we've seen, certainly in the divorce papers, and heard about the relationship and the dissolution of the marriage, is that he was a very controlling sort of person. And if you extend that on to his relationship with her, has the court of public opinion already come in and convicted her of being involved in this from the get-go?
You know, you raised an interesting question. If he was that controlling with Jennifer, is he that controlling with Michelle? But the problem is, Michelle has been lying from the outset, and she has not been playing the role of the girlfriend who is psychologically or emotionally abused. She lied for him from the outset. Those alibi scripts, she helped him write them out. She lied to police and said she was in the shower with him. She only, when she is confronted with the truth, does she retract and backpedal and say, okay, maybe I was mistaken.
As a profiler, do you believe that he is behaving as a husband whose mother of his children has gone missing? Is this clicking the way it should with you? Do you think he's telling the truth, or is he showing deceptive behavior?
Well, he's extremely smooth, extremely practiced, and we see that with a lot of narcissistic behavior. He recently did a very public nationwide interview, and in it, he doesn't say much, but if you watch when he answers those questions, and you know just the very basics about eye movement from people who are lying, that right-handed people, if they are being deceptive, will very often look to the right if they're making things up, and look to the left if they're recalling facts. When you watch his eye movement, I detected deception.
Nancy, what was your gut level when you're watching him speak in press conference or interview?
Very much like Dr. Casey just told us. Now, I'm not relying on him blinking or looking this way or that way, but I know one thing. They were not having a sexy shower with a loofah at the time. Michelle Troconis said so.
I have spent a lot of my career in deception detection.
Yeah.
I do look at how he says what he says. And my take of him in every interview, press conference, or whatever, is that he's very constricted, which means he's really closed up and holding it in. And his cognitive load is very high. Yeah. It's like, and what I mean by that is if I say to you, doctor, is there any reason somebody might have told me they saw you near the crime scene last night? If you weren't there, you don't have to think about it. Right. You just say no. But if you were there, you take a minute to run through in your mind, let's see, no. And you have to form a lot of cognitive operations before you can answer. And they asked him what he thought people would think of him. And he said very specifically, I know what I have done and what I have not done.
Right.
Now, that's an odd way to answer that question. If you look at his interview with Sarah Wallace on NBC4, Sarah Wallace says, do you think you've been treated fairly by the criminal justice system? He responds, I do. She says, like people say, yes, 90% of the time it is the spouse. What's your? He says, well, it is 90%. It's not 100%. And I'm in the 5 or 10% category. And then the reporter says, so yeah, because you know, people automatically say the spouse did it. He responds, I know, but I know what I've done, and I know what I haven't done. So I have to stand and fight and hope that the truth is going to come out. So I look at how he's answering some of these things, and if you look at these things in clusters, it's really big red flags for me.
Huge.
All right, coming up, as we've seen, Fotis Dulos' arrest warrant contains a large amount of alleged red flag behavior. But what can we learn from his behavior with the media since his arrest? Well, I'm going to be joined by celebrity defense attorney and private investigator that are going to really weigh in on this and tell us what they think as well. This is something that I hope is going to bring some sharper focus to this than has been brought to it so far. We'll be right back.
I believe in Fotis' head, he thought this was the perfect crime. What he's going to find out very quickly is he's not as smart as he thinks.
Jennifer very well may still be alive. I think that there's every chance Fotis Dulos is going to walk away from this a free man.
We're analyzing the mysterious disappearance of Connecticut woman Jennifer Dulos. Now, I've invited some of the leading figures in law and criminal investigation to give their expert opinion on her husband, Fotis Dulos, the man many believe is at the center of this mystery. Take a look.
Based on the affidavit, I do believe Fotis was involved in Jennifer's disappearance and most likely her homicide. There is a plethora of red flags in this case. This is kind of, in a way, a detective's dream. Between 8:05 a.m. and 10:25 a.m. there was a crime and then a cleanup. The real theme behind this investigation is blood, blood, blood. You have blood found in the garage. You have blood found on the interior and exterior of her vehicle. Based on the amount of blood, it's highly unlikely that she's still alive. I believe in Fotis' head, he thought this was the perfect crime. What he's going to find out very quickly is he's not as smart as he thinks.
I think that there's every chance Fotis Dulos is going to walk away from this a free man. It's a very circumstantial case. There's not enough here for a conviction. They don't have a body, so they can't conclusively say there was a murder. They can't say if it was a shooting or a stabbing.
Based on everything I know in my 30 years of working cases very similar to this, I don't believe that Jennifer Dulos is alive. Everyone is considered not guilty until proven guilty.
If this were Christmas morning, I'd be saying I waited all these months for this paltry gift. We've pled not guilty, and we look forward to a full day in court.
So far, all we've heard is that there are minuscule amounts of blood. It's shocking, frankly, if there was a bloody body in that vehicle, that there's not a lot of blood evidence.
The criminologist in me knows, based on the facts we've seen so far, this is a case that's not only prosecutable, but winnable.
Jennifer very well may still be alive. And you have to say, just because there's smoke, there's no fire.
Well, joining me now alongside Nancy Grace and Dr. Casey Jordan is high-profile defense attorney Steve Greenberg, whose clients include R. Kelly and private investigator and star of Investigation Discovery's Breaking Homicide, Derek Levasseur. Let's look at this from the defense side of things. There's blood in a lot of places here. Is there enough blood to reliably get something that you can take a sample from, make decisions about with scientific rigor?
Well, they've gotten some blood and they've gotten some DNA. The blood in the garage doesn't concern me so much. There's not this massive amount of blood splatter. There's a little bit of blood that they found in the garage.
Greenberg, that's completely wrong. It's not just a little bit of blood in the garage. And we haven't even talked about her Vineyard Vine shirt soaked in blood. Blood, blood, blood in 30 different receptacles. How can you not be worried
Nancy,
about that much blood?
Nancy, thank God you're not going to be on a jury that I would have, because you're not listening to the evidence. There's not
I wouldn't want to sit on a jury that
There's
you
not
have.
30 different receptacles with garbage in it. There's not blood everywhere. The fact that someone's blood's in their own garage is not a smoking gun. The blood that's a little bit problematic here is what's found in the Tacoma, the truck that he borrows from the employee, and if that comes back is Jennifer's blood, because there's not really an explanation for that. Still, you can't say what happened, and that's always a problem for the prosecution, because jurors want to be told a story. They want to be told, this is what occurred in that garage.
Steve's saying that the jury's going to want a story, right? And there's a lack of blood, as you pointed out, in the garage. Well, the story is this. It was cleaned up. They did luminol testing. They probably found cleaning agents. They saw that there was some type of items used to clean up that area, and yet they didn't find them. What the prosecution will then show, that Fotis Dulos and Michelle Troconis were up in Hartford. They recovered the bags that they disposed, and in those bags were the mops and towels and rags that would have been used to clean up that blood.
Well, as Dr. Casey pointed out, the importance of Michelle Troconis being a linchpin, if she rolls on him,
she's rolling.
Then that story starts to get filled in, right?
Right. If she rolls, he's got big problems.
This is a statement she made in her third police interview. This section from page 36 of Michelle Troconis' third police interview on September 5th reports that when asked by police why Fotis Dulos was washing the Toyota Tacoma, he replied, and I quote, "Well, obviously, all the evidence says because you showed me the picture of the blood in the door, it's because the body of Jennifer at some point was in there."
Right. See, I would argue that's not quite enough. She doesn't say that I know the body. She says, based on what you're showing me, I would conclude that the body was in there. So they have to go, but they have to go one step further with her before she can be a witness, because all she's doing now is giving an opinion on the quality of the evidence.
She used the word body. We haven't seen that before. Trust me, Dr. Phil, she is going to turn.
Yeah. And this is an affidavit based on the tampering with evidence. If they eventually charge him with murder, I have a feeling Michelle's going to have a lot more to say.
All the experts I've invited here today agree on one thing, that is the vehicle right here plays a crucial part in the case of missing Jennifer Dulos. We're going to discuss why that's so critical when we come back.
Investigators now revealing what they believe happened back on May 24th.
Jennifer Dulos was last seen bringing her children to school.
They accuse Fotis Dulos of driving his employee's red truck from Farmington to New Canaan that morning. The employee says in the days to follow, Fotis Dulos insisted he remove seats from the truck and get rid of them. That employee did so, but kept them without Dulos knowing. The seats would later test positive for Jennifer's blood.
Every criminal investigator looks for the smoking gun in an investigation, that one piece of evidence that can lead to a major breakthrough. Now, could this truck be the key to solving this mystery of missing mother of five, Jennifer Dulos? Now, I'm joined by Nancy Grace, attorney Steve Greenberg, criminal profiler Dr. Casey Jordan, private detective Eric Levasseur. You know, he takes this truck that belongs to an employee. That much we know. We do know that he went and got the truck cleaned. He paid cash for it, and then he leaned on the employee to have the seats changed. I spent most of my professional career in jury science. That's a story.
But what does that story tell you?
Well, in isolation, it doesn't tell me everything. but when you put it together with all the other pieces, and let's take a look at what some of those pieces are. This is 7:30 a.m., and this is the truck heading in the direction of her house. Now, it's 8:05, and she arrives home. This is after dropping the children off.
Correct.
And you're talking about story. So, okay, now we see and this is grainy here, but we see the victim's vehicle here, and this is leaving the scene. So you're going to the scene, she's arriving, then departing the scene. Okay? Now, this all happens on May 24th. This is the day that she goes missing. You're wanting a story. Detectives went to Russell Speeder's car wash and obtained surveillance footage showing Dulos entering the parking lot at 9:05 a.m., driving this Toyota Tacoma, and he pulls up to a surveillance camera located on the north entrance to the automated car wash and parks the truck with the Toyota's front license plate visible on the camera, so we know that's the truck.
They still found Jennifer's DNA in it.
Yeah, they still found blood.
Right.
In the car.
Right, because a car seat is not like a piece of glass. You're never going to clean everything off of a car seat.
Well, you have to remember that the car seats were removed, and that's the ones where they took the fabric swatch. They got a Joyce warrant, which allows them to forensically analyze it, and that's when they found Jennifer's DNA.
Right. Now, when you look at the arrest warrant for Dulos, we have surveillance cameras capture footage of a Caucasian male bearing a physical resemblance to Fotis Dulos driving a large black pickup truck, a Ford 150 Raptor owned by Fotis Dulos, stopping at multiple locations to dump garbage bags and several trash cans. The male was seen in the company of a female Caucasian resembling Michelle Troconis. Surveillance footage shows a man and a woman matching the descriptions of Fotis Dulos and Michelle Troconis driving a black Raptor. Okay, so you're putting them together at that point. Okay, now they're starting to search, and they're digging into the storm drains, and what they find here are license plates registered to Dulos, Fotis Dulos, but they've been altered. They're his, but they've been altered.
Dr. Phil, one more thing about those photos you're showing. When you refer to the grainy surveillance video, it is grainy, but let me remind everybody that when she finally came clean, Michelle Troconis says that is her going to all those trash cans with Fotis Dulos.
We'll be right back. Today we're investigating the disappearance of Connecticut mother Jennifer Dulos. Now, I'm joined by a team of experts, criminal profiler Casey Jordan, defense attorney Stephen Greenberg, American legal commentator Nancy Grace, and private detective Derek Lavisser. Norm Pattis, Fotis Dulos' lawyer, is proposing a unique theory to try and explain Jennifer Dulos' disappearance, which many are calling controversial. Take a look at this.
Defense attorney Norm Pattis revealed portions of a sealed psychological evaluation that was performed on all members of the Dulos family prior to Jennifer Farber Dulos' disappearance. The report will put in question the state of mind of Jennifer Farber Dulos in the weeks leading up to her disappearance, and that she had motive to set her husband up. Pattis revealed a Gone Girl theory, borrowing a plot from the movie where a woman frames her husband for her disappearance. Pattis floated yet another theory that she harmed herself in order to frame Fotis.
You heard us say today in court comments that Jennifer made to Mr. Dulos that give us grave concerns for her safety and well-being. We are actively contemplating a revenge suicide hypothesis as an explanation for her disappearance.
There are a lot of strange theories being put out here. What do you think about that?
I think it's very disrespectful.
I had to make a flow chart, Dr. Phil, about all the stories his zany lawyer has come up with since Jennifer went missing. First of all, they said that she had written a novel like Gone Girl and that she was acting that out. Then they said that she was living under an assumed name in New York and that she had done that before. And most latest, they are saying that, this is his defense lawyer, that they now believe that Jennifer was pregnant or had a terminal illness, and that's why she disappeared.
Do you think he's making a problem for himself when he finally, it was like the little boy that cried wolf. I mean, it's this, it's that, it's this, it's that, and then you finally come up with a theory. What is this, number 17? Are we supposed to believe that? Is that a problem?
Well, all I'm ever concerned about in a case is what the people in the courtroom are going to think. The 12 jurors that I have to make my pitch to. He's not going to gain anything by putting out all these theories in public opinion by having his client go on TV. I would never do anything like that in a case like this because the haters are going to hate, the lovers are going to love. All you care about is the 12 people in the courtroom.
Let's take a look at what he said when he came out the last time. Look at this.
Mr. Dulos, in this particular instance here with this particular charge, what do you have to say for yourself?
It's an exhausting fight. I love my children, and that's about it.
Where's your wife? Where's Jennifer?
I wish you'd ask yourself why you have the nerve and the audacity to ask him that question. Where's the murder charge? And where's your objectivity? Shame on you.
It's coming. Dr. Phil, a good prosecutor is going to take that interview and they're going to be able to use it, and they're going to use that smirk on his face when he looks at his lawyer for gratification after giving that answer, and they're going to be able to twist it, just like all the other interviews he gave. And that's why he should not be saying a word on TV, a word to the press.
And
he who does not
take much twisting.
He who does not talk walks. That's the old saying in the business.
When you make a 911 call, that's an emergency line, and you expect to hear emergency energy, right? Listen to this.
911, what's the location of your emergency?
I'm worried about my wife and kids because they left to go to New York, and I haven't been able to get in touch with them.
Who's the car registered to?
It's registered to my wife's name, Jennifer Dulos.
And who else is with them?
That's it.
How many kids? 2?
5.
5 kids? Okay, and how long ago did they leave Connecticut?
I want to say 4:30, 4.
Yeah, p.m.?
p.m., yes.
Okay. What's your name?
It's Fotis, F-O-T-I-S.
Okay.
Last name is Dulos, D-U-L-O-S.
Okay, I'll send an officer over. We'll speak with you.
You get my point. This goes on, but that just seems like, give me a number 5 with fries. And
he's probably reading the alibi
it's
script.
Incongruent. Yeah. And just one day after his arrest, here's what he was doing. He's just out jogging.
Yeah.
He's just out jogging.
With some new hardware. With some new hardware, though.
Yeah.
An ankle bracelet.
Yeah, he's got his ankle bracelet on, but he's out jogging.
It's the same kind of thing.
It's incongruent.
Right, so if you're trying to sway public opinion, which really shouldn't matter, but if you're trying to sway public opinion, then you got to control the client, and you have to have them do things that the public would expect.
All right, coming up, has the court of public opinion already made up their mind about Fotis Dulos? Each of my expert guests here today have something they'd like to say about that when we come back. Now, I'm curious, where do you think this is going to wind up?
Well, he's going to end up getting charged with murder. Eventually, I think this Michelle, the girlfriend, is going to crumble, and they're going to tell a story, which is why everything they've done to this point, to me as a defense attorney, is the wrong strategy. Because if he does get charged with murder at some point, he could have controlled the narrative, especially if they can't find the body, and had what we call mitigated murder. You got in a terrible fight. You went over there to talk to her. You got in a terrible fight, and you know, you just lost it, which isn't going to land you in jail for the rest of your life.
What do you think?
Okay, your chain is only as strong as its weakest link, and that weak link is Michelle Troconis. They have the dots, they are connecting them. She's gonna crumble, she's already crumbling like a bad cookie, seriously. And she's gonna have a come to Jesus moment the second that they arrest Fotis, and they're gonna come after her, charge her as well. She's gonna sing like a canary about every single thing she knows, and I think it's a lot more than is in the current warrant.
Yeah, I think Fotis will be charged with murder at some point. I think detectives have way more than they've shared with us up to this point. That affidavit is just scratching the surface. But I would actually change direction a little bit and speak to Fotis and say, listen, at the end of the day, you know where this is heading, and you need to come clean. You need to cooperate with police, if not for yourself, for your children, because they're dealing with this every day. And you need to become a man and do what's right and tell the truth and give them that closure.
He won't do it.
Nancy, how do you think this is going to turn out?
Fotis Dulos, you know, Dr. Phil, when you don't know a horse, look at his track record. He cheated on his wife at the expense of their marriage and their children. He's away from his children. Why? Because he satisfied his own desires, what was most convenient to him. He is not going to change his track record now, tell the truth, try to put his family back together again. She is dead, and even now, he is going along, smirking, dragging her name through the mud.
Nancy,
I'd like to find out more about Michelle Troconis.
Nancy's going to convict him of being a bad guy.
Well, as for me, I think he'll cut a deal. Okay, we're back, and we're kind of out of time on this, but I wanted to do this today because I want to turn a bright light on this. I want to keep a bright light on this, and hopefully something will happen. Let me be very clear about our show today. My experts and I were stating our opinions based on known facts from information that law enforcement has released into the public record and from statements made by the defendants themselves or their representatives. We are not saying that either Fotis Dulos or Michelle Troconis are guilty of murder for which they have not been charged. We are not saying they are guilty of even the matters they have been charged with, tampering with evidence and hindering a prosecution. That judgment will have to await further developments. We reached out to Jennifer Dulos' family and received a statement from Carrie Luft, a close friend and family spokesman. The entire statement is available on drphil.com, but here is an excerpt. More than 3 months have elapsed since Jennifer disappeared. We, Jennifer's family and loved ones, are living in limbo. None of this nightmare feels real. In order to maintain structure for the children, we need to go about daily life. School, work, sports, family dinners, football games, movies, all without Jennifer. We miss her laugh, her gentle demeanor, her smart humor, her caring guidance, her warm hugs, her half-sipped sodas, her graceful strength, and so much more. The passage of time only intensifies the impact of this tragedy on Jennifer's children, who have not seen their mother, the constant presence in their lives, in more than 100 days. The New Canaan and Connecticut State Police Forces continue to work around the clock to find Jennifer and to solve the mystery of her disappearance. We are deeply grateful for their determination. I want to thank all of my guests today. A special thanks to Nancy, Dr. Casey Jordan, Steve, thank you, and Breaking Homicides, Derek Levasseur. Thank you so much for being here. You can catch up on Investigation Discovery's Breaking Homicide on ID Go, the Investigation Discovery streaming app. It is really interesting and very current. Don't forget to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I saw something on my Facebook today that I'd like to share with you. Marcy Pagel had this to say: "Love Dr. Phil's show. You always know exactly what to say and do in any situation." Marcy, I only wish that were true. I couldn't do it without my amazing team, and I want to give a special thanks to everybody that was here today for their fascinating insights. We'll see you next time. Okay.